In chapter 1, we learned that Ralph was stranded on an island, unexpected, didn't plan it. Then he was strolling along, and he met Piggy. He wore glasses, stood proud, and the little chubby. Cripes, where am I? 100 yards away, they saw a kid wearing torn clothes. He was little, about 6. Then they saw Sam, Eric, and Maridu, more little kids, and met Jack too. He was a mean kid, the choir leader. He assigned the little ones as hunters. They didn't mind either. Then in chapter 2, Ralph wanted to build a fire. Jack wanted meat, but Ralph didn't bother listening to Jack. Then they went back looking for wood and stood together in a pack. They wanted to create smoke so ships can see it. They started the fire with Piggy's glasses. He couldn't believe it. By the end of chapter 2, they were still there, except for a little one with a mark. He disappeared. At the beginning of chapter 3, we learn more about Jack, from his sandy hair to his sunburn and blackish freckles. Then he met up with Ralph, who was upset because he didn't know where Jack went. Towards the end of chapter 3, Ralph was mad. Jack still wouldn't help with the fire, and Ralph was fed up with Jack always wanting Pig. They needed smoke so they can be rescued soon by a ship. Finally, in chapter 3, they couldn't find Simon. He was nowhere to be found, but he just looked back at the mountain. He was just walking around the forest, away from everyone, and he left without a purpose. Chapter 4 introduced us to Roger, who had black hair that was relatively longer. Then Jack talked to him about being seen by smearing something pink on his face that he found under a tree. Later that day, Ralph trotted up to the beach and explained to everyone they had lost a lot of sticks. How the devil does this rhyme? And can have a sandal sun. Whatever, I lost my place here. Then they all built a fire and created smoke. A ship didn't see them, and Ralph spoke to Jack because he let the fire go out. Because he went back and caught a pig, no doubt that they would have been rescued by the boat. But the ship was gone, that's all she wrote. Jack... Okay. Jack didn't care about the... Jack didn't care about that. He was so excited because he got meat. He just told them to eat. He grabbed the conch and called a meeting. Then in chapter 5, Ralph called an assembly complaining about how nothing was getting done. Then he said to get water from the stream, but it in coconut shells and leaves under a tree. He went on, made more rules about the bathroom, shelter, and getting food. The most important thing, though, was the fire. They needed it. It was more important than survival. Then Ralph and Jack went at it for a while. But by the end of the chapter, they were really sad. They wished grown-ups were there and Piggy wanted his dad. Chapter 6 began with the twins watching the fire, making small talk, when suddenly they thought that they saw a beast with teeth and claws. Then went back and told Ralph, who then told Jack. He was excited and he was going to attack. Piggy wanted to stay and Jack made fun of him and said the conch was useless. Then the fire idea came back again. They all went up the mountain and Simon said he didn't believe in the beast, and Ralph agreed with him. Some kids stayed with Jack because they felt protected, and they picked Ralph as a leader in something they regretted. Towards the beginning of chapter 7, there was a pig run. Ralph threw a spear, and he barely hit one. He thought it was the beast, but Jack said it was a boar. But it got away, so Ralph wanted to take a tour to the top of the mountain where they would find the beast, but especially make a fire and have a feast. But there was one flaw in that plan. Piggy cannot be the leader of the kids. He wasn't enough of a man. So only Roger, Jack, and Ralph decided to go to the mountain. Then there was a feud, and Ralph and Jack that Ralph and Jack should go alone then. But then they were calm a few seconds later. They thought they saw the beast but didn't know how to handle it together. Then in chapter 8, Piggy and Ralph were talking about the beast and the... You're right, I can't read my handwriting. Image of what it was. Ralph said it had teeth and big black eyes. Piggy didn't even question it. Ralph was telling lies. Then soon after, Ralph blew the conch, called together an assembly. Jack told the hunters he is a coward and didn't help with the beastie. Then he decided he wasn't going to listen to Ralph. From that point on, Ralph's authority went south. Some of the hunters started listening to Jack because they felt safe. There was no way they were going back. Jack's group soon after killed the beast. They roasted the pig and together had a feast. They stuck the pig's head on a stick. It was Lord of the Flies, and it made Simon sick. Lord of the Flies told Simon to have fun, and if he didn't, he would be unwanted. In chapter 9, Ralph and Piggy were playing in the water. Then they went back to see Jack, and they kind of bothered him by seeing him because he felt the need to something pig. Alright, then Jack offered Ralph to be in his tribe. He said he would protect him and give him food, but he wasn't taking the bribe. He said he was chief and that they had to listen, but Jack said he wasn't chief on this side of the island. Then there was thunder and lightning. The hunters and Jack circled the beast, and it was frightening. Then the chapter ended at a bedtime end. Ralph and Piggy were scared because they witnessed the death of Simon. Then in chapter 10, Ralph and Piggy were scared. They couldn't get over Simon and they wished they couldn't care. Piggy said it was an accident. Ralph didn't know why it happened. Shockingly, the twins didn't really care and had no trouble napping. Back with Jack, the tribe was trying to protect the fort, and Ralph, Piggy, and the twins were trying to sort the logs together so they could make a fire. Then later they got in a fight with the others. Jack and his team ambushed them and there were clashes, everyone fighting each other, and someone broke Piggy's glasses. In chapter 11, Piggy didn't have his specs. Ralph didn't believe what had happened next. Their fire was stolen, so they went to Jack's side of the island to approach them and his tribe. Then when Ralph, Piggy, and the twins, Jack was upset and he didn't want them back again. Then Piggy kept calling Jack a thief, and he was upset because he was used to being called chief. Then Ralph got in a fight with Jack, and Piggy interrupted. He made a speech that things were getting all corrupted. Roger rolled a rock off a hill, hit Piggy in the head, and instantly killed. Ralph was in shock. Ralph's day was getting rough. Everyone saw him and they chased him off. Finally, chapter 12 starts and Ralph is all alone. Piggy is dead, so he can't figure out how to get back in the zone. Simon is dead because he was a Christ figure, and on top of that, the twins weren't on his side either. Then Jack decided to light the island off to kill Ralph, but ended setting off a signal to a nearby naval ship. One of the naval officers saw Ralph. He couldn't believe it. Yes, I'm done. Turn this off.
Solid D. Solid D.
I know, it was terrible. All right,
No,